Chief.
Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you for being here. And first and foremost, something I hardly do, but first and foremost, I'm going to thank the media. Thank you so much for all of your help, your cooperation, for keeping the story out there, and to the members of the public, because I can easily say that because of all of this impact and influence, it definitely had a positive detriment or a result as to where we are today. And I also want to thank the law enforcement partners that were involved with this investigation, specifically York Regional Police Service, Peel Regional Police Service, and the Ontario Provincial Police, all played a factor in this investigation. And Superintendent Steve Watson, to his team and members from the Organized Crime Enforcement Section for doing a tremendous job, a lot of legwork from start to finish, as well as to the frontline men and women 31 Division and all the civilians that were involved in order to get us to where we are today. This investigation is not over yet, and I'll ask for my appeal later, but I'll just give a quick storyline as to why we are here, and then we'll carry on from there. So on Wednesday, March the 4th, at approximately 8:25 in the morning, police were called for an unknown trouble call. When the officers from 31 Division arrived, the information was that they heard someone saying something to the effect of "help me," and something to do with a black Wrangler Jeep with oversized tires involved. Officers immediately started to canvass the area for witnesses, for any kind of evidence, video, or anything to assist with this investigation. Later on, it was determined that this vehicle was involved because another person stated that the male, our victim, was pushed into the vehicle. So as the investigation continued, at approximately 5:27 that evening, the father of Shema Jalomi contacted the police to say that his son was missing. We launched more aggressive resources put into play to help us move this as fast as we possibly could, because we understood what the circumstance was. At about 10 p.m. that night in Caledon, a vehicle fitting the description of the black Jeep Wrangler was located, as a citizen in Caledon contacted the OPP to say that this vehicle was on fire in a park. As we continued the investigation, we believe that the motive for Shema's abduction was because of his brother, his older brother's involvement in a drug ripoff value of over $4 million. And I'll be very clear that Shemar Jalami had absolutely nothing to do with this whole occurrence other than being a 14-year-old boy that was a victim of being abducted. So as the investigation continued, utilizing all of the resources that we had available from start to finish, at approximately 10:20 yesterday evening, Shemar was located in the area of Heritage Road and Wayneless Drive in Brampton by members of the Toronto Police Service. He appeared to be disheveled at that time, was taken to a medical facility for checkup. He's now safe with his mom and dad, and we have yet to interview him, obviously because we want his well-being to be the priority of this. But I can tell you that as of now, the investigation is still ongoing. We're looking for the person or persons that are responsible, who are involved in any way, shape, or form, that caused Shemar to be abducted, to turn themselves in. We're asking again for witness appeal. If anyone knows anything towards this investigation, no matter how small, to please contact us at 416-808-2510 or call Crime Stoppers at 416-222-TIPS. This is a case where I believe, with the amount of impact and involvement that members of the public have had, with the evidence that we are still putting together, we're reviewing video at various locations, there is a fantastic opportunity to find those people that are responsible and bring them before the judicial system. Now, having said that, I'll answer questions with relations to this investigation.
Chief, it's Kelly Lonningham from CB24. I'm wondering about the people you're looking for and the fact that this 14-year-old boy has obviously seen them. This was a 40-hour or so ordeal. Is he safe? Does the family need protection now? And why do you think they let him go if you might know who they are?
Well, I certainly won't speculate on what he knows and what he doesn't know. Hopefully the interview will assist us to give us more evidence so that we can move forward. And I will tell you that he probably will be the most watched young man in the city of Toronto right now, so you'd be more than a fool to try to apprehend him or cause any harm to his family. And I also believe that we are going to be aggressively investigating this. I've got some of the best, and I think that we will have an opportunity to make those apprehensions, and that, I hope, will curb any fears or anxieties that anyone may have with respect to the people involved in this investigation.
What is to why this young boy was taken in particular as opposed to any other family member?
Well, you know, I'll be speculating. I think it's obvious. They couldn't locate the older brother. Neither can we at this point in time. And so, obviously, the younger brother would have been the target in which they chose, which was very unfortunate.
Do you guys know who you're looking for? That the stepbrother has been cooperating with you, and there had also been contact with the abductors. What can you tell us about that line of communication and how helpful that is in this investigation?
Okay, so I can tell you that we did not have direct contact with the abductors, so if that needs to be clarified, that is clarified. The older brother had very limited contact with us. We don't know where he is. We definitely know that he's not in the GTA, and we're uncertain if in fact he's in the province. So that's where we stand right now, and hopefully if he's part of the opportunity of helping us have an understanding of who is responsible for abducting his younger brother, I certainly would entertain taking anything he has to provide.
Can you tell us what led you to that location?
Well, as I stated, there was a lot of cooperation from a multitude of law enforcement agencies. Tips were coming in. We had various leads that we were looking at. There was no stone that was not unturned with this investigation. A lot of really good, dedicated law enforcement officers were involved. A lot of specialists in the civilian entities are assisting us. It was a cooperative working environment, working with all of the law enforcement agencies to get to where we were.
So was this not a message from the abductors that you'll find boy here?
No, I don't. I can't get into the granular points of it. Our fact is that through the investigation, we were able to locate him in that particular area and able to hopefully have him recover and then have an opportunity to gather more evidence so that we can move this investigation even further.
Chief, if the call came in around to you guys around 8:30 or shortly after the abduction, the parents reached out to you at 5:30. At what point is that the first time the parents contacted you guys? And if so, why weren't the parents contacted earlier in that time?
Well, our issue when we got the original unknown call, we had no idea who the victim was. It took a tremendous amount of legwork. People can't understand the amount of gravity of resources that are put in, unlike the Hollywood movies where in 15 minutes of your hour segment. This is a lot more complicated, door to door, asking a lot of questions, looking for any other type of evidence vis-a-vis video or anything else. We still have opportunities for dash cams if they're in the neighborhood in this day and environment. So it takes quite a bit of time to build up to get the identity of that person. But through the legwork from the frontline men and women and the investigators, we're able to determine the vehicle, put that picture out there. A lot of members of the public were calling in, and some people of the public were inconvenienced because there are a lot of black Jeep Wranglers with oversized tires that were getting pulled over. But it just goes to show that everybody wanted an active role in helping. But once the person was identified and when his father called in, we were able to put links together and really have some opportunity to surge in what we needed to do to streamline whether to include or exclude was him. And once we figured out all of that, we were able to determine what we needed to do investigatively for safe apprehension. Joey, you usually have two, so go ahead.
I'll try to do it quick. Well, first of all, congratulations for finding the young boy and to Superintendent Watts and his team, so excellent job. The question I wondered about was the images you put out with the Amber Alert of the Jeep. Were they found after the father indicated that his son hadn't been home from school, or did you find it in the original tablets from the 8:30 call in the morning when you were looking for it? Did you have it later or before?
Well, the Jeep information, understanding that this was a possible abduction, we certainly didn't, that wasn't a holdback. Anything that we could utilize, any type of evidence that we could provide to the public gives us an opportunity for two things. Number one, move us closer to who potential suspects were, but number two, hopefully suppress the people that are involved in the actual crime itself.
Did you know it was a real abduction, or was it just somebody said it was and you never were able to determine it until the father indicated? You know, in those hours, like, obviously you had the call, but nobody seemed to know for sure. But did you know, or was it not until after you knew?
No, through further canvassing. So the first unknown trouble really didn't have strong linkage to a person, other than hearing the help, and then seeing this black Jeep. I believe through later canvassing, through a lot of hard work, they're able to determine there was another person that said, yes, someone was stuffed into this vehicle. At that point in time, we knew that we had an abduction on the go.
That was after the father told you?
That was before.
So around what time did you know it was an abduction?
I don't have the exact time to say when it was, but I know that when we had information, we put it out there to the public as soon as possible, so that we could lead to the conclusion that we have.
Chief,
Well,
just
the
a few
point was
clarifications on the
question.
stepbrother. So are you saying he is cooperating with you, but you don't know where he is? So can you just expand on that? To what degree is he cooperating if he won't tell you where he is? And on the suspects, I'm assuming since you haven't given us any names, you don't actually know who you're looking for? Is the stepbrother not giving you any clues as to who might be responsible for this?
Well, I'm not going to get into all of the evidence. I will say that there was limited cooperation, and I'll leave it at that right now. Do we need more? Yeah, absolutely. And if he can provide more, will we take it? Yes, we will.
Chief,
And on the
back to
suspect-
when the
No
board was
suspects yet.
located, can you just clarify, you said he was disheveled.
Yeah.
Was he tied up? Was he being held hostage in that barn? What was, and how were you led there? Did the abductors give you a tip? This is where he's at.
No, I'm not, again, because the investigation is ongoing, Catherine, and this is a young man. I'm not going to get into the minutiae of what state that he was in, and I'd hope that there'd be some dignity with respect to that. To disclose what we did and how we got there, right now with an ongoing investigation, I'm not going to jeopardize that particular investigation. Yeah, okay, sorry. Oh, okay, that was a fake question. So I'm not going to be giving too much out at this time. Right now, my focus is, this is an appeal. This investigation is not done yet. I want these people that are involved, and I think there's a great opportunity to reach the goal line with this particular investigation.
But they sound like dangerous people. Like, how great a concern is there to apprehend these people?
There's always a great concern, and you know, when we're talking about drugs and high volume drugs, and we talk about abductions, it's a recipe for people that I would like incarcerated.
Chief,
Chief,
I know
you said yes.
I know you mentioned that 14-year-old was disheveled, but can you give us just maybe a little bit more insight into how he's doing after the stabbing?
Oh, okay, yeah. I believe he's doing very well right now, and it was a good day when we had the opportunity of connecting a 14-year-old boy and his mom and dad.
Chief,
Chief, you said that yesterday there was 2 to 3 suspects. Is there any more elaboration on how many people might be involved?
Not at this time, no.
If the allegations are true and the brother was involved in a $4 million ripoff of the drugs, what kind of trouble could he be in? Is he going to face charges?
Well, until a drug dealer comes in and complains that they had $4 million of cocaine ripped off them, I won't be laying that charge. But listen, right now, the role he would play is a witness, and he would have a strong idea of who is involved and what the involvement was, and then we would have a starting point to move this investigation further. But I strongly believe that abductions are not done in vacuums. There was a lot of public exposure, and as this investigation undresses, once we start looking at the video evidence, once more tips come in, I think the breadcrumbs will lead us right to who was involved. And so if he plays that role of being a stronger witness, then great, but right now my appeal is still as it stands, that we're looking for everyone else to cooperate and not just rely on one person to help us resolve this particular investigation.
Would you close the door at this point on like charges?
Would I close the door?
Would you close the door at this point on the charges?
On what? The
On
$4
this
million?
document, yeah.
On what?
On the brother of the step.
Close the door on what
Well, are
investigation?
you closing the door at this point on any charges against a potential witness at this point, or any reason to suspect someone?
Sorry, I don't understand the question. Yes?
Just wondering if the Jeep that was later found burned out, was that stolen?
I don't have any information on that at this point in
And I
time.
know we
Chief,
want to respect the dignity of the 14-year-old boy. Could you just give us an idea of his injuries, if any, just very general on his condition?
No, I won't speak to that. I want less focus on this young man. He's gone through enough already. My role right now is I want people apprehended who put him in this state. And I also want him going through the healing process with his family, and I would take that as a priority. So I really don't want to put a whole lot of emphasis on a young man that was exposed to something this horrific. Yes. Two more questions.
Is there from police about the danger to the brother or to the entire family?
Well, I answered that a little bit earlier in the sense that there's always going to be a danger. I'm not going to be naive to say that there isn't a danger. We can reduce that danger by locating and apprehending these folks, and so if we do get the proper evidence and information and direction, then we'll do just that.
Chief,
The city actually has admitted that there was a mistake made on their part that led to this delay of the parents in realizing that the boy was missing. Do you think that could have changed the investigation had the TDSB and the school realized earlier that this boy was missing?
Well, I'm not going to speculate. You know, the Toronto District School Board does a great job, and if they identify any gaps, then I'm sure that they'll move in the right direction to remedy those things. And so I really won't comment on what it would or wouldn't have done. I'll just comment on what has happened and the fact that we're in a good state.
Chief.
That'll be a two-parter, of course.
In your long experience, and you've done all the different parts of policing, can you recall anything like this? Because a lot of us don't. And number two, a little bit to what Catherine, the best you can. Superintendent Watts, from all our accounts, did a great job of communicating through the media directly to the people that did it, and it worked out. But it must have been very tense in those hours after that, because you're in a situation with an Amber Alert and doing that, you're already in a danger zone. So it is visible to you.
Okay, great. Well, Superintendent Watts and his crew, they're rock stars, and they really do know how to conduct these types of investigations, and this one is still ongoing. We have a few abductions yearly. If you look at some of the charges that in our year results, abductions do happen in this city, and that will happen when you've got 3 million people. How you carry out those investigations, utilizing whatever resources are necessary, utilizing whatever technologies that you can use by law, in accordance to law, to assist you in moving closer to the finish line, is of great value. We've done a few of them, so I've got people that are quasi-experts in knowing the methodology. But these types of investigations are very dynamic, and what you have to do is you try to look for your best for cracks, and then once you find those cracks or opportunities, you try to exploit them to the best of your ability, and a lot of times you reach successful conclusions. But it is very fluid in nature, it is very dynamic, and having the plan A, B, C, D all in effect and ready to go and transition into those plans when necessary is what leads to successful outcomes. And I think this is a case where that's exactly what happened. Once again, I want to say to the media, thank you so much for all of your help. I truly mean it when I say you played a direct role in getting us to where we are, and I hope that you will play a further role in really closing the deal on this and making sure that we apprehend everybody in any way, shape, or form that was involved in this 14-year-old gentleman's life put in such a traumatic way. So looking forward to having a successful outcome. And once again, thank you very much.
What do you want from next? Because I don't know where we go next. I'm a little confused. What is the next step?
There's so much I could say with that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There's no description of the
Just
suspect.
what exactly
How
Yeah,
confident
as-
are you? What kind of charges could they be facing if and when?
I'm very confident. It's going to take time. Things don't happen overnight like TV. And with the people that we have involved in these types of investigations, with the collaborativeness of the agencies that I've spoken to earlier and other entities that are involved, I think we'll have an opportunity to provide more information to the media. But my original sentence was that there is absolutely no way that nobody knows anything about this. There are people, and this is who I'm appealing to, there are people out there that definitely know what went on. There are too many moving parts to this thing, and hoping that they are the first wave that come in and take an active